The offset of that
is,
I hope you can understand my hand motions here.
Maths
happen in this area.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of BikesxBourbon. I'm Russ from Path Less Pedaled.
And I'm Toffer from The Bike Path.
And as usual, we're gonna drink some drinks and talk some bikes. And we've got a very special whiskey today. This was actually gifted to me at in Emporia during the Dirty Kanza Rieger meeting.
Greetings from Kansas City. This Jay Rieger's Kansas City whiskey. It's not bourbon, but it's not bad.
I'm not sure of his real name, but I think he goes by Gravel Warfare on Instagram. So that makes Gravel Warfare
our king of the bourbon.
Yay! Animation.
Yeah, so I'll do the pouring here.
There's that kind of vanilla caramel sweetness that we get from bourbon.
Yep.
But also like kind of darker, redder fruits. Like I was getting raisins and dates, and it's just really rich flavors. So
it has like a nice mouthfeel. Definitely kind of not a thin, drink.
It's got some body.
Yeah.
It's got some midtones. It's not all like bright notes. I really like how this unfolds.
Yeah, kind of is a nice balance. I mean, it seems like it would be a nice, I don't know, sometimes the flask whiskey designation might be.
It's not all totally pejorative.
Right. But it's like, like if you were going for more like a flask whiskey and you want to like maybe surprise the people you're with a nice
flask whiskey. I'm super impressed with this. Like if I don't know if our local liquor store has this, but I might grab another bottle.
Yeah,
it's just that good.
Yeah, try to track it down.
Just got back from Dirty Kanza. Lots of life lessons were learned.
Those were, I have to say, Did you
watch the video?
I've watched, I watched, so, I mean, it's definitely hard. It was kind of harder to watch. It's hard to watch the first one when you know
what's coming.
What's coming. I mean, you guys were
we were so happy.
So happy. Yeah, I mean, it's like, and then, it's just one of those things that I think it just shows how hard something like Kanza is. It
was a hard ride. Like I think it was harder than we had anticipated. And part of that, I mean, like you see lots of pictures, arms raised in victory and people just crushing it. But there's a lot of carnage, and like no one really focuses on that. So we're like, we didn't finish, the ride we wanted to do.
Right.
But I think it's an important story. It's a story that doesn't get told.
Sure.
Like most people that don't complete it kind of just like sulk away. But we're gonna open it up and show like what the real experience is like.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it was awesome. I mean, that was the other thing, is that besides seeing knowing what was coming, knowing that you didn't make it to the finish line, was I think amazing. That second video was really like a nice, honest approach to it.
Right.
I mean, it's just super. Like at points hard to watch because it was so kind of like, but it was also like, I mean, I think once again, like that's what I have enjoyed about your videos for a while, is like the honesty. I mean, like when that you're gonna get kind of this real-time take, and like I think any type of bike experience that you could have. I mean, there's bike tours that don't work out, races that don't work out, and I think that that's something that we can easily focus on, like the stories of success, and like it's always like an easier story to tell. Like the victory, the hero story is kind of like, oh, like this is this.
Right.
But the nuance of having it be like, well, what did we learn? And I think in some ways also, like when you just finish something, you're also kind of like, oh, I did it, and you kind of walk away from it, and you don't reflect maybe as much as if everything didn't go according to plan.
Yeah, I definitely think like, when you succeed at things, like you learn less because it kind of reaffirms what you thought. Right. But like by not, succeeding in something, it's like it makes you kind of reassess, the ground you stand on. Right.
So I saw that you posted to Instagram a picture of your Garmin watch, and you said you're getting back into running.
Yeah, I went for a run today.
And so, but you also said, you mentioned that you're going to do. I think this should be a thing, a Missoula Try. So the Missoula Try, for people who don't, go check Instagram, but you're going to, we can bike in Missoula, we can bike to like true designated wilderness. Like,
yeah, there's like about a mile that way. You hit rattlesnake, and then I think I've not ridden it all the way to the end. It's like 15 or 17
yeah,
miles.
I mean, yeah.
You hit wilderness.
But within 15 miles of biking or walking, I mean, 15 miles on a trail.
Yeah.
You hit wilderness.
Yeah, so we're
You have to hike or ride a horse
yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because don't horses like poop all over the place? Because so much of like the last like couple months has been focused on DK. Like we've stopped running, we've stopped doing other things we enjoy doing.
Yeah.
But now we can do those things. So Missoula Tri, we're gonna ride our bikes to the wilderness line, leave the bikes, go for I think it's a 4 or 5 mile hike or trail run to a lake, do some fishing, and then come back down all in one day.
Yeah.
So.
That's still like 30 miles of biking.
Yeah, 10 miles of running.
Yeah, like,
and then fish.
yeah, like, and then all if you don't catch any fish.
Right, then.
It's a lot
Yeah,
of work
I love it. I think the fishing part evens it out for those that aren't, maybe nearly as athletic, but there could be some serious like fishers/athletes.
Oh yeah. I mean, you also went to talk to the folks at Alter.
Yeah.
Shop visit that will be up at some point soon.
Yeah, nice
And-
guys.
Yeah, and I think Steve is into bike fishing or maybe just fishing.
I think he
does
fishes, but I know that they have like they actually sell Tenkara fishing stuff in the shop, which is like super rare.
Yeah.
Like it surprises me that more bike shops don't do it, especially in Montana. And I think they're gonna lead a Swift camp out of Bozeman, and it's gonna be bike fishing themed.
Bike fishing themed, yeah.
So our friends at Swift Industries just released a hip bag called the Elwah.
Hip bag? Is that a fanny pack?
Yeah, it's essentially a fanny pack.
Is there a difference? I just was.
And I think fanny pack is more 80s.
Is that a rebranding?
Right.
Hip pack is the 21st century.
It's artisanal fanny pack.
Okay. So the hip pack.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So they co-branded with they did a co-project with Tenkara Rod Co. And it's pretty cool. I actually took it out today. Nice. So I biked down to Rattlesnake Creek, and the water's still high, but I still caught a fish. And I wore it down to the river, stuffed all my fishing stuff. Yeah. And it worked pretty good. I like the removable water thing. I thought that would get in the way, but it was actually really handy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
sidekick.
A sidekick that can fit on like. What is what's that? Mole straps. Yeah. So it fits in, so you can use it on any. You could use this like basically it's a.
It's like a stem bag.
Yeah,
type thing.
Like a small stem bag that would basically fit like a 12-ounce can of beer, maybe a small water bottle. Yeah. Maybe other things for fishing. I don't know. Could you maybe repurpose it for?
Yeah, you could definitely put a small fly box or other tools. Yeah, I think I've not really played with the sidekick yet, but I think they originally designed it to fit on the basket.
Right.
It looks like you might be able to put it on, use it as a stand bag. I'm not sure. It's cool. It's big enough to carry the fishing gear that you'd want to carry. Yeah. Small enough to not get in the way. I've actually not mounted it on the handlebar yet, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah. But so far so good.
Yeah, and then there's even I think Tenkara Rod Company has a dedicated Swift. I mean, they haven't like come out with a new rod. It's just a Swift
branded.
Swift branded has I think it's like different color for Swift. That's nice to see like companies kind of it truly being like supporting each other. It's not just like one company doing something.
Right. I mean, I think Tenkara. I fish all the different ways I can fish. I love just nerding out on that stuff. But if you're new to fly fishing or fishing in general, Tenkara is a great way to go because it's super simple and relatively less expensive.
And then it's simple, but then it seems like for biking, it also packs down in a really nice way.
Yeah, I've got a small version of the Tenkara Rodco one, and I've not tested it, but it might fit inside the Elwah. I'm not sure, 100%. I know it fits in other hip bags that I own. It'll certainly fit in a frame bag.
Yeah, it's exciting to see like kind of those different things. I mean, and it's definitely more like the Elwah is definitely more fleshed out than like a hip pack, like a standard one pouch hip pack. Right. I mean, there's features on it.
Yeah, it's got things to put all, like when you go fishing, there's all these dangling things.
Sure.
It's got the loops for that. I like that the zipper only opens up halfway, because if it zipped all the way down, there's a likelihood of like things just dropping out of the river.
Right.
I'm stoked that, Laura and I have been into bike fishing for a while.
Yeah.
So have Martina and Jason.
Yep.
I'm stoked that there's actual like formal synergies between brands now.
Yeah.
It's not just like these crazy people doing things. It's like there's actual companies supporting it.
Right. Yeah, and if you have been following Pathless Pedaled long enough, and you go back to some there's like one of the early bike fishing videos. I'm not sure if you're calling it bike fishing at that point, but there's like one where Martina and Jason.
Oh yeah.
It's like they're there. It was like for our first Friday event, I was going through some of your bike fishing videos, and I was like, hey, I know those people.
So there's a provenance. It's not coming out of nowhere. Like I think Martina and Jason and Laura and I got into fly fishing at the same time. Different states, different areas, but it's part of the whole supple life thing. Yes, we like bikes, but also things that kind of complement bike touring, bike packing, or just bike riding.
The whole, especially where Swift has gone, focusing more on the adventure side of things.
Or multi-sport.
Right. Right. Well, I just remember. I remember when they did like Brompton bags. Yeah. So they now. I feel like the Swift camp out. This whole thing kind of just furthers. You like to go out and explore. You like to kind of go take it easy and ride your bike places and go fishing and go camping and hang out with friends.
Yeah.
This is just another way they're helping you do that.
So I think this summer is going to be the summer of bike fishing. Like I've noticed, the hashtag is almost up to 4,000. Lots of other people like trying it out for the first time, which I'm super stoked on.
Yeah, it's fun to see like maybe folks that aren't like bike first, but they like to bike, or it's like cool to see that stuff being developed.
I think it makes sense. I think if you look at the market, there's probably a very small piece of the pie that identifies as cyclists only,
right? And
like a much larger piece that they're passionate about bikes, but they're also passionate about other things.
That's possible, right? It's possible to be passionate about other things. You can have other interests. It doesn't have to be bikes all the time. Bikes.
So I think for Swift, I think it's a brilliant move because they could, let's say they completely dominated that sector of like the bike market. There's kind of still a bottleneck. But if they could tap into people that want to use the Elwah for like trail running or just hiking, be more like a general outdoor brand.
Just in time for obviously fishing to kind of get going in a lot of places. Supple life, I think, another dimension.
Yeah. So I don't know if you watched the Expo video, right?
Yeah.
So my favorite part of that Expo video is when Joe Miser, one of the designers at Salsa, uses the phrase "the supple life."
Supple life.
That was so good. One thing that was was awesome and redeeming about Dirty Kanza was we had like so many viewers there, so many people that were fans of BikesxBourbon or just the channel in general, and every like 30 feet someone was saying, "Hey, watch your YouTube channel." So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's nice.
And some of the brands were familiar, like Donnelly, their gravel bike was there.
Yeah.
The guy James that we spoke to was familiar with the Supple Life. This woman from Trek, like we chatted with them.
Nice.
I will say I had an interesting interaction with the folks at Moots.
Yeah.
So Moots, titanium belts based out of Steamboat.
They have that new bike that the rear end there's like
something,
suspension. They play, they're in Colorado, so they're playing around with rocky terrain.
So they like the Supple Life, but a little bit more complexly. So I chatted with one guy there, and I was like, dude, I love your Route 45. Are you guys going to do a 650B version?
Yeah.
And he kind of hemmed and hawed, and he was like, we're more performance oriented, and we've ridden both, and we prefer 700C. And we get customers that request 650B, but they can't tell us why. So then I gave him my big reasons, and then he was like, no. Moots not into 650B. We'll see.
That's awesome.
To me, it's a little bonkers that they'll do a drop bar bike with rear and front suspension, but 650B is off the table. That is like nuts.
I've definitely talked to some frame builders, and brought up certain things, and they're like, "Why do you want that?"
Right.
But I love that, like, I love that now as, I mean, we should probably cut this part of the video, but I love a brand being like, "Why do my customers want? Like, why do you want that?" No.
Yeah. And then I told them. I was like, well, I'm a short rider.
That's not a good enough reason.
Yeah, toe overlap. Like, I feel too tall when I'm running, like, a
Right.
huge tire.
Right.
But it was that guy in particular was not into it. Although there was a guy wearing a Moots shirt that was at the booth who came up and said, I dig your channel. You do all the weird things, which is cool. Company line at the moment, no 650B.
Everyone has their own preferences.
That's
I
true.
get it. I get it. I mean, clearly, I think if you ride bikes enough, whether it's like just you ride them every day or you've ridden them for years, you develop preferences. But to but to be categorically kind of like meh about something is like, you're better at the internet than I am because you get more of that than
I eat so much comments.
There's one.
There was a comment this morning. Yeah, I should just read it. Someone named Plant Fueled. I'm a long-term 10-year mountain biker and 4-year road biker. Mm-hmm. I don't need the wider bar and wider tire. Sorry, he's apologizing. Yeah. Everything can be done on a road race / climbing bike unless maybe you have a bad back or other disability. So basically he's saying, my preference for the supple life is because I have a bad back. I have a bad back or a disability, and I do. I'm not.
I just want to say, like, not all plant-fueled people.
That wasn't you. I was like, man, that's Topper. He's trolling.
Yeah, I do other things with my time than troll Russ. I don't know. I don't think bike handling has a lot to do with enjoying wider bars or wider tires. Like, I mean, especially because we are on the record for not being for like super wide. I mean, we're talking 650 by 48, I think being.
It's like anything beyond that is like just crazy.
Yeah. Even that's
that
too
was a
far.
Joke.
Even that's too far for us.
Right.
You want to run 650 by.
That's a mountain bike.
But I mean, so like that's still like. That's Compass. They're performance oriented. Talk to like Jan about all that stuff. That he gets deep into
super deep
the weeds of contact area and
aerodynamics. And
so
all
I mean,
stuff, Speaking of which, did you hear about his new tire?
Oh,
700 by 55.
I think maybe I did hear about that.
Yeah. So I don't know how many bikes will fit that. I think it'll fit in the cutthroat. I might try to get a pair.
Yeah. Cool.
But it's interesting to see.
Yeah, trying to bring some of that, maybe the philosophy of their 650 line to their
to the 700 line.
Yeah. Supple life is where whenever you stop claiming that people who like wider tires have back issues or
are disabled, apparently.
You're welcome. You're welcome to join us. Just check those things at the door.
Another interesting bike that got released was the 650B multi-wheel size Warbird, and it looked really sweet. Like no final color. Had like black and kind of prototyping paint on it. One thing I liked, Miser said that the fork not only has a
Joe Miser, not a curmudgeonly salsa employee who just wanted all of the supple life for himself.
Right.
No.
But he said that the fork will take the 3-pack mounts, which is actually the official name. We've been calling them adventure mounts, but
3-pack mounts.
Right.
Adventure mounts.
Right.
They're still adventure mounts.
But they will also take front lowriders. Because typically up until now, it's been like a either or proposition. Like either you'll get the ability to do lowriders, front painters, or the 3-pack mounts. But now you can have both.
The engineers needed a little bit more time. The trend needed to slow down enough.
I'm stoked on it because I've literally been bugging like Joe Miser specifically for years. I was like, when are you going to do 650B? It's like, and then like, boom.
Here it is. Everything's coming up pathless pedaled. I feel like you've been pushing fishing from a bike.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't do it from your bike, but
I've tried. It did not. I tried once for a picture. It did not end well.
650B, something you've been I think it's something that, yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before on Bikes by Bourbon. For smaller riders, for people, I mean, it just makes sense. That's what's silly to me about, it's not just like some niche thing that some dudes on the internet are excited about.
Right.
Like, it's something that can actually help riders out.
Yeah, it's
having a smaller
it's
wheel
actual
stick.
like functional
Yeah.
benefit. It's
It's not just it's not just like us being like, this is some cool new standard that
Right,
everyone
yeah,
should adopt.
yeah.
It's like, no, like there's actual benefit. And
It's exciting times. I am beginning to wonder if like the gravel bike innovations, if it's gonna jump the shark at some point. If like, you know, they're gonna, because me personally, I draw the line between like too complicated suspension. Like I don't think I want or need a full suspension gravel bike, but I think things are gonna get crazy really, really soon. So for bike reviews coming up, we're looking at 2 bikes over there.
yeah.
Richie Outback reviews coming up soon, and the Specialized Divergé.
Oh, the fancy Divergé.
Yeah, it's got the Future Shocks. I'm not going to share my opinion yet.
Yep.
Wait for the review.
Yep.
But it's in the building. Should be out within the next 2 weeks.
While we're kind of thinking about bikes you reviewed, I've been really going back and thinking about the Midnight Special.
Yes, actually, so have I. I've been like,
I mean, I've been thinking more and more. Like, I was like, you know, I feel like whenever these bikes were released, kind of in a flurry a couple months ago, and it felt like Gorilla Monsoon and the Journeyman, and I felt like maybe the Gorilla Monsoon for people kind of like really jumped out as like
it's the most eye candy for sure.
Yeah, but there's something about like a wide tire road bike, like that I was just it kind of keeps like my curiosity is really like drawn to that. Like,
Right.
And then I was reading a review of it where I think it was on fatbike.com.
Oh, really?
Which they reviewed it because it's like a fat bike technically for road bikes. But he was saying that like the guy there was saying that he's ridden a cross check for a long time, and that basically they've just like there's not as much rake in the fork, and there might be like no rake in the Midnight Special, and it's like 1 degree like less. So it's more upright.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I like kind of like my cross check. I mean, the cross check now has become kind of like a get around town bike for me. But I always enjoy riding it.
It's been the most interesting bike I've reviewed in this recent like glut of reviews. Speaking of which, Surly Pack Rat.
Ooh.
Coming in next week.
Nice. Okay.
So that's
the one where it's kind of front loaded. They want you to front load it.
Yeah, but they did it a weird way because typically, you know, rando bikes, you know, they go low trail.
Right.
But here they went like steep head angle.
Right. So the difference being the low trail being the difference between
it's like
if you the fork and then there's like a rake.
Like the
And so
offset.
the
and,
offset of that is. I hope you can understand my hand motions here. Maths happen in this area, but certainly like rather than doing those maths,
right? The rando maths.
Yeah, did different math like kind of higher up where the head tube is.
Yeah. Which interesting. I was talking to Sklar. We were talking about Benedict's Nabs bike.
Yeah.
And supposedly that's kind of how his bike went. It went super steep head angle. And that added to, I asked him, well, how does that affect the ride? It's like super stable. Yeah, so Pack Rat coming in next week. That 650B cantilever brakes. They're sending the rack that comes with it. So I might take it on some bike fishing excursions to see how it handles the waders and boots and everything.
Yeah.
The longer I drink it, the more I get the dates, like and the raisiny kind of flavors.
Some dried fruit definitely becomes more prominent.
It's just good.
I don't know like why for me recently something has been happening as I've been drinking whiskeys where like the sweetness has started to fade on like as like I don't know.
You acclimate or something?
Yeah, like on like the first I don't know, like the first pour comes out and then usually like if I go to a second pour it's like it kind of just starts to fade. I'm not sure what's wrong with my mouth or tongue or
well, do you like that
brain.
That happens or you're not a fan?
That's fine. It's just an interesting, like, I feel like it's one of those things I just have noticed it in myself. And so now I'm like, oh, wait, don't say that because that's just,
that's your palate becoming more refined.
Yeah, it's like your brain is just like,
I kind of like that though, because I feel like a lot, you know, especially with bourbons, I always taste the sweetness up front.
Yeah.
And then I start my brain starts digging for, well, what else is beneath all the sugar?
Right. Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, your brain kind of trying to kick out some of that, because I'm not always a dried fruit person,
Right.
like that, the raisin,
Yeah.
but it's I think one that helps is that sweetness, kind of helps soften that a little bit, and I don't know, get that more, it's almost like a vanilla. I mean, some of the vanilla starts to come out more.
Right. Yeah. I also get molasses is another thing I pick up.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's definitely also become more rich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely
that's true.
some of the richer notes,
Yeah.
or just some of that. I think is also, it definitely has body to it. I think so. It's
for
kind of
sure.
this rich-bodied whiskey.
Yeah.
But it's really nice. I mean,
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Like this, I'm super stoked on this. All right, well, let's wrap it up. On that note, thank you again, Gravel Warfare.
Yeah, gosh.
It's good.
Big fans of what they're doing in Kansas City.
Yeah, who knew?
So,
All right, cheers. So until next time.
keep the supple side down.